The A500 Mini is not an Amiga. I'll say it again. The A500 Mini is not an Amiga. Yes, it may look like an Amiga, but it's not an Amiga. It doesn't load Workbench. You can't do any work on it, although I suppose you could get a copy of Deluxe Paint or some sort of word processor and put that onto a USB stick. Maybe that'll work. Maybe not. But in practical terms, the Amiga 500 did so much more than just play games, whereas the A500 Mini doesn't. It just plays games. When I say the A500 Mini isn't an Amiga, I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I'm not against this machine, far from it. I absolutely love my A500 Mini and I think it's a brilliant idea. This machine, as Ron Searle says,
does exactly what it says on the tin.
There are 25 games bundled into this machine. It comes with a tank mouse and a CD32 type controller, and that's it. This isn't a review video. Sorry, I'll just put that back. It's in a similar vein to the C64 Mini, the NES Mini, the Mega Drive Mini. It's simply for people who either had or didn't have those consoles when they first came out. And yes, I bundled the A500 Mini in with the word console, because that is what it is. Remember folks, the A500 Mini is not an Amiga. The A500 Mini is a retro console that plays Amiga games. It looks like an Amiga 500. It has a tank mouse, but remember, the A500 Mini is not an Amiga. So, who is it aimed at? Like I said earlier, I think it's aimed at the casual Amiga fans or those who want to play the games they once loved. The Amiga community is very much alive and well, but what I've seen online is that there seems to be a lot of negativity over this machine from some, not all at all, but some of the die-hard Mega Amiga fans, which is why I think there's so much confusion over what this machine is. And like I've said before, this is not an Amiga. This is a games console. You get 25 games bundled with it, a tank mouse and a CD32 controller, but that's all this machine is for. It's aimed at the person who wants to relive their youth, and person who wants to pick up that machine again and find the passion that they once had for an Amiga. I remember when I got my Amiga for the first time. I remember that it was for my birthday and I felt absolutely head over heels in love with this machine. I don't even think I was a teenager yet. It was early 1980s and I absolutely loved this machine. My machine sadly was stolen, my Amiga 500 from my youth. So as an adult, I've now bought 2 Amiga 500s. And I've still got that special moment with those Amiga 500s and I love them. I absolutely love it. I love the sound the disc makes. I love as soon as you put it in, the grinding disc drive noise. But it doesn't mean I should hate the Amiga 500 Mini. I absolutely love it. Now, I hate to bang on about this. The A500 Mini is not an Amiga. I've also heard it be said, why not get a Raspberry Pi instead? That's a very good point. And Pi Amiga is the perfect example that shows the passion that still exists for Amiga. Lovingly developed by Chris Edwards, Pi Amiga is developed for the Raspberry Pi 3, 4 and the Pi 400. But you do need to be a bit techie in order to get it to work. You need to download the image via torrent, you get it onto an SD card, and then you've got to set up that image on that card. This is also, of course, depending on the fact that you have a Raspberry Pi. You then need to find the various games, download those, and then get playing. Oh, you also need to buy a joystick and a mouse. In my opinion, if you're just the casual gamer, which the A500 Mini is aimed at, Raspberry Pi is a brilliant solution, but it's too techie. It's not just a case of take it out of the box, plug it in, it works. With the A500 Mini, it is. If you're already into your tech, then chances are you've probably got a Raspberry Pi. If you were into an Amiga in your youth, chances are you've got Pi Amiga, like me. This is my Raspberry Pi 400. As you can see, it's a Raspberry Pi 400. Again, this isn't going to be a review video. I did one of these actually, an unboxing video in one of my first videos. This machine is absolutely brilliant. This is Pi Amiga running on my Raspberry Pi 400, which as you can see is absolutely beautiful. Has tons of games and applications, and thanks to Chris Edwards, we have a thing of such beauty. I saw on Facebook the other day some people berating the A500 Mini and say, why not just buy an Amiga off of eBay? Have you seen some of the prices of the Amigas on eBay? You're also running the risk that they won't work, they'll have battery leakage, or the capacitors will need changing. In the case of the Amiga 500, that's not the case, but Amiga 500 Plus, Yes, you can have some sort of battery leakage on there, possibly. On 600s and 1200s, they'll need recapping. So you are running that risk that that machine that you buy off of eBay, although somebody is going to sell it with all good intent, may not even work. I have an Amiga 500, Amiga 500 Plus, a Raspberry Pi 400, and now my A500 Mini. I nearly said an Amiga. Now my A500 Mini. And for me, they all serve completely different purposes. As you can see behind me here, my Amiga 500, which is that one there, and my Amiga 500 Plus, which is that one there, sit on my shelf most of the time in my office. If I fancy a game or if I want to record a video for YouTube, chances are I power up my Amiga 500 Plus. My A500 just literally just sits up there for the whole of its time. I have it more of a showpiece than actually anything that I tend to use. Chances are I'm always running my Amiga 500 Plus, and it's complete stock. There's no additional modern technology in it. But in order for me to play my 500 Plus, I get it off the shelf. I get the power pack or the PSU from a drawer. I get the joystick from a drawer, the mouse from a drawer, and I plug it all in. I'm using standard monitors, so I've got a output that goes into a SCART box and a SCART to an HDMI. It's not a simple process. Equally, it's not a really long-winded process, but there's a few steps you need to get through in order for me to start playing on that Amiga 500. I've got plenty of box games, I've got loads of cover discs, and I've got lots and lots of backup copy discs. Sorry, backup discs. Not copy, no, backup discs. All of the box games work, but the rest of them is just potluck. Some cover discs work, some game backup discs work, but like I say, it's complete potluck with whether they work or not. My Raspberry Pi is the same. It sits in a drawer and it's there when I need it. I take it out the drawer, I plug it in via USB to give me some power, I plug it via HDMI into my monitor, which obviously is a lot more simple, and then I've got a Raspberry Pi mouse, and I've got one of these, which is a little Raspberry Pi controller thing, which is brilliant. It just connects via Bluetooth, and it's a lot more simple. I've got hundreds, if not thousands, of games in my Raspberry Pi 400. In fact, I think it might even be the entire back catalogue of all Amiga games ever produced. The A500 Mini provides something else. When it was first delivered, I unboxed it. Remember, this isn't an unboxing video. Plugged it into my kitchen TV and got playing straight away. It was as simple as that. My eldest son and I were playing Zool, Another World, Pinball Dreams, all of the games that come packaged in with it, and I absolutely loved it. My passion for Amiga hadn't gone away because of my Amiga 500, but it was still kindling away, and I could see my son enjoying playing on an A500 Mini, and that for me was so special. Yes, the Amiga 500 will always be special. It'll always have a special place in mine and thousands of other hearts. But the A500 Mini rekindles some of that. It packages it up and lets you just play, which is kind of why we all fell in love with the Amiga 500 in the first place, wasn't it? Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you soon.